How can you support the C2K report? Honestly, we're not looking for handouts. We are assembling a team of free thinkers that are called to fund everything Ecclesia. When you join Project 144, you become a lifetime seat holder at the big Ecclesia ministry table, enabling you to collaborate with other Project 144 members to fund projects everywhere. For more information on the power of Project 144, visit our homepage at C2KReport.com and click the Project 144 logo. That's C2KReport.com and click the Project 144 logo. See you there. Hello, American Levitical Kingdom privateers. Welcome to the C2K Report. This is one of your hosts, Rick Hidalgo, and next to me over here in this other Hollywood Square. Remember that game show?
I remember that.
Yeah, this other Hollywood Square over here is Randy Conway. Randy, welcome to the C2K Report again.
Thank you, Rick. Great to be with you once again. You know, you've noticed I kind of changed studios around. It looks like we're in the same room now. The books just keep going across the
yeah.
Cool.
I like that. Now you just see the Conway flag behind you, kind of like I got.
There you go.
So, I'm really glad that we're back together this week. I look forward to these, Randy, and tonight is no exception because we're going to continue our whiteboard series, but it's not going to be a part 6. This is just a standalone because we're going to talk about the Strawman. We had a class last Monday, which, by the way, our largest class yet. Really good stimulating conversation, good stuff, and lots of questions, which is what we like because we like to answer questions. And one of the big questions that we had last week that kind of compelled me to say, Randy, we're going to have a conversation about the Strawman was a conversation about the Strawman. What someone asked that They said they didn't understand what the Strawman was, and they would like for us to kind of give them a definition. So we're going to dedicate a whole show to it.
Okay. If I only had a brain.
If I only had a brain. Yes, exactly. That's a good representation of the Strawman for sure. Because it's a fiction, so it doesn't have a brain. You have to be the brain for it. And, a lot of times when we deal with the Strawman, we actually deal brainlessly. So that's a bad thing. Anyway, before we get to that, I want to remind everybody we have more classes coming. July's, practically here. Tomorrow's July. July
right.
The 25th is going to be our first July class. And I think that's a Monday. I hope that's a Monday. I'm not looking at my calendar, but I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be our first July class, and you guys are all invited. So you really need to be a part of this. I can tell you we are building an ecclesia apparatus in a big way. You really need to get in on these classes because we need to be on a level playing field as far as education goes. We all need to know the same information so as we move forward, we can begin to make progress in other areas. As the ecclesia grows of people that are involved in this particular, what do you want to call this? In this particular apparatus that we're building, we are going to collectively be able to do things that we can't do individually, and that's going to be really exciting. It's already getting a little bit exciting, so just know that it's going to be important for you to take the class. So come on in. You want to sign up for it? It's real easy. You don't have to register. We don't do that. Okay, so all you have to do is just contact me at info@c2kreport.com and let me know that you want to attend the class, and I will add you to the class roster and send you an email essentially telling you how it is that you can join with instructions.
Yeah, I've got to put a tag on that. It is invigorating, interesting, educational. Rick and Jim do a great job. I'm there most of the time. There's always one Monday night a month that I'm not there because I'm teaching another class in person. But it is worth your time. And actually, by building this ecclesia, Rick, by building this apparatus and putting our energy into that, and putting our time and effort into building up God's kingdom and building up this ecclesia, and not putting our energy into uselessly fighting Babylon, but actually effectively building the ecclesia, Babylon dwindles on its own.
It does. It does. I'm going to repeat something that General Flynn says all the time, but I'm going to put it in a different context. He says local action makes a national impact. Well, I agree. It does. But the local action is the ecclesia. That's the ecclesia. And when you build your ecclesia apparatus locally and begin to assemble with others who are like-minded, who are also members of the ecclesia, part of God's family, what starts to happen is national impact. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I wanted to show you guys the fellow who educates us on Monday nights. His name is Jim. Jim wrote a couple books. If you're one who likes the Word, and I'm hoping that all of you are that, okay, and you want to understand it a little bit more clearly as far as contracts go, these books are amazing. I'm sure Randy can stand behind me on that. These books are really, really amazing. He is going to open your eyes to the scriptures in a way that maybe you've never read them before. It's the kind of stuff that happens to us all the time when we go back into the Word and we get into a deeper layer and a deeper layer and a deeper layer. It's like Shrek said, right? Shrek compared himself to an onion, right? The Bible is an onion.
But what about cake? Cake has layers too, right? I like cake.
Very nice. By
Well,
the way,
I mean, you brought up Shrek, so I had to go there.
Amazon.com is where you can find these. So he's self-published on Amazon.com, so you can go there and you can get a hold of these.
Rick, if you hold them up one at a time, because we could see the contract in Eden real clearly, but we couldn't see the title on the journey. The contract in Eden. Yeah,
the contract in Eden, and then
the Journey of Mankind.
The Journey of Mankind by James Allen Odell. Okay, so you want to check those out. There's they're not huge books, very easy, very quick reading. I'm not going to say easy reading, because it's deep. Okay, super deep, but check those out. Check those out. So, Randy, you got anything else you need to announce, or
No. I'm ready to dive into the whiteboard with you.
Okay, so no, you're not having any more kids. I thought you said.
No.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
Nothing to disclose here.
Nothing to disclose here. Okay, all right, we're good. I'm not either. Just full disclosure.
You already won that race, and
I already won that race.
You already won that race. Cross the finish line. We're done.
So, let's get into Babylon. Are you tired of fake news and cancel culture? Me too. Stay informed and stay free by subscribing to the only paper that I read, the Epic Times. Subscribe today and get the Epic Time for just $1 the first month. Yes, that's right, just $1 the first month. And because you're a listener of the C2K report, you'll get a discounted monthly subscription of just $77. Not the $99 that everybody else has to pay, but the $77 that you as a C2K listener get to have. So simply use the promo code C2K to enjoy the lowest rate available. go to C2KReport.com, click on the Epic Times logo on our homepage, and it'll bring you here. Simply enter the promo code C2K to enjoy the lowest savings ever. Thank you, Epic Times, for partnering with the C2K Report. See, I retitled the board. It doesn't say governing structure anymore. It says Babylon. So let's talk about the Strawman, Randy.
Okay.
Everybody wants to know, what do you mean when you talk about a Strawman? Or sometimes we refer to it as an unincorporated birth organization, right? Randy, I'm going to give you the first shot. You want to tell us a little bit, kind of give us a summary of how you describe the Strawman.
You know, when we were children, we played make believe, and some of us outgrew playing make believe because the Bible says that people perish without vision, but a dreamer never succeeds. A dreamer is just that. And literally, that's what the government has done. They have played make-believe with all of us and created a fiction that is nothing more than make-believe, and they have hoodwinked us. And that's a very particular term, and I use that on purpose. They have hoodwinked us into believing that the make-believe is reality.
It kind of reminds me, we do a lot of TV references on this show because, we're old men.
Right.
Yeah, we're old men, and back in the day, that's what we did. We watched TV, right? But Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood comes to mind, right?
Okay.
He remember the trolley would go into the tunnel,
Yep.
and then he'd go into make-believe land, right?
Yep.
That's kind of what's going on with this Strawman thing. And I'm gonna take you into make believe land here, and Randy, when you need to say something, you just stop me, and we'll go into whatever you want to go into.
Okay.
But it starts with a really simple concept that I think we probably dominate on the internet right now. There's two kingdoms. Did you know that, Randy? There's two kingdoms, and that the C2K report means the clash of two kingdoms.
That's absolutely right.
So there are two kingdoms, and when you say kingdom, it kind of insinuates that there's a king, right?
Right.
Well, Babylon has a king. Babylon's king here, I drew. I'm not the best drawer in the world, but he's got a beard, so everybody should be happy about that.
Got a crown.
A crown, and he's got a couple of sharp fangs in his mouth. I don't know, you probably can't see that. But, this king is evil. Okay, he's evil because, see, he knows there's another king, and that other king is the king of all reality. He is the king of the real. He is the king of the private. He is even the king of the public, okay? He put forth laws and ordinances that we as flesh have to follow. And one day we're going to be judged on that, okay? Because we are subject to the King of Kings, Jesus Christ, Yahushua HaMashiach. We are subject to him. But this king, he is a subversion king. He likes to mimic and he likes to copy the King of Kings. You follow me so far, Randy?
Right.
He loves to mimic him. All right. So what did the King of the universe, Yahuwah, what was his first action in the Bible after he made creation, right? He literally made man out of the dust of the earth, right? Now, dust is not fictional. Dust is real. It's substance, okay? But this king, he likes to create also. But because he doesn't have any authority, He is a king of no authority, all right? He literally cannot create. He has no power to create. In fact, this king that a lot of people call Satan, Lucifer, he's got all kinds of names, okay? This king, he is so powerless that he makes up stories about his power in order to scare us. He doesn't have that ability. We give characteristics to this king that only belong to the King of Kings. Okay.
You know who that king is?
Go ahead.
That king, if you go back in history, you ever heard the term the King of Fools? In fact, if you ever watched the Disney movie
Hunchback.
Hunchback,
Yeah.
he was the King of Fools, or also known as the King of Misrule, or the Lord of Misrule.
There you go.
That goes back not only the Lord of Misrule from Scotland. You've got the church in England had the same festival, and it goes all the way back to a Roman celebration of Saturnalia.
That's not good stuff.
That's not good stuff. He is nothing more than the Lord of Misrule. He is nothing more than Saturnalia. He is in the guise of deity, where our king is a true deity.
Absolutely. So this king, in order to compel you to do anything, Randy, because this king has no authority. So in order to compel you to do something, what he had to do was he had to create some kind of apparatus for you for him to be able to have some kind of authority over you, because see, he has no divine right. You see how I wrote that here? No divine right.
Right.
See, there was a theory back in the day when it came to kings that they had this divine right, that they were like God, that they could act and administrate their kingdom in whatever way they wanted to, and it was acceptable because they were gods. Okay, problem with that is, back in 33 AD, there was this guy in this ancient book that kind of destroyed that, because he was the king of kings, and he ended kingship. There's now only one king with authority, because all of it was given to him, all authority in heaven and earth. I think we say that on every show. Okay, pretty much every report we quote that, and it's important.
It is important, because you're talking King of Kings versus King of Fools. You're talking the Lord of Lords, the Lord of heaven and earth, the Lord of all creation, versus the Lord of Misrule.
Right. So this king has no divine right, and he knows it. So he has to create this apparatus for him to be able to have some kind of authority over you. Now,
Right.
That authority, today, we call it compelling interest. So in order to have compelling interest, he's got to get you to sign some kind of a contract or give something over, so that you would have he would have compelling interest over you, and you would have to follow his instruction. Very much like, I don't know if you're familiar with the story of what was the guy that sewed straw and made gold? Rumpelstiltskin. You guys know the story of Rumpelstiltskin? He had to create deception in order to be able to have any kind of authority over the situations, in all of those stories of Rumpelstiltskin. Okay, that's basically another form of this guy, this Lord of Misrule, that Randy's talking about. So he creates this thing called a vassal, because that's something that a king can do, right? A king wants people to act on his behalf in under the laws of agency, and go out and and do what he wants them to do, like say, go find gold, right? So he creates this vassal or this agent, and he says, okay, I'm going to commission you to go find gold. Okay, you go find gold, you go find new countries, you go find this, you go find whatever. He gives you instruction as an agent as to what he wants you to do. Now, in the United States, how does that look? What instructions are we given? We're given instructions to pay tax, right? We're given instruction to labor, and we have these labor schemes that we participate in. We have all these different schemes that we participate in the United States because we were duped into entering a contract. Now, Randy, you know what contract that I'm talking about that created that vassal?
That is a contract that happened after your mother informed on you.
Yeah, and isn't that just the way that the Lord of Mistral would do it? He would cause your own mother to inform on you and basically register you, give away all administration over to Babylon. So now Babylon has compelling interest over your life to tell you what to do. Okay.
It's interesting that you start this conversation not with the Strawman, but with this Babylonian king, the leader of this idea, this whole system, and then you move immediately to this vassal that he creates from that birth record. Because if you actually go back to Black's Law Dictionary, fifth edition, and you look up the actual definition of a man, because we're talking about a straw man, and a straw man should be something completely different. Once we get done with this program tonight, in your mind, than a man. But guess what? In Babylon's law and their mind, a man is literally defined in this way. In feudal law, it is a vassal, a tenant, or feudatory. So what you said is actually written in the definition of a man from Black's Law Dictionary. You're a vassal.
Watch your mouth. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, all right. Do you remember how I said that this king likes to mimic the King of Kings?
Yes.
He likes to make it look like something that the King of Kings has done so as to confuse his remnant, because his remnant understands his ways. So we look at it and we say, you know what? That's very similar to God's way. So it must be okay. Let me tell you something. Do you know what the Lord Jesus Christ? Do you know what He creates? He creates vessels. Think about that for a minute. He creates vessels. Okay? The disciples were vessels of the Lord Jesus Christ. He filled them and sent them out into the world to do a particular thing. Okay? This guy, what does he create? He creates vassals. Now, is there similarities between a vassal and a vessel? Well, sure. But here's the problem. A vessel is something that can be filled, so it's a physical thing. It's real. Okay? A vassal, that's under the law of agency. That's not a real thing. That's a fiction. Okay? So you're going to get this, you're going to start to understand how everything he does is fiction. Everything this Lord of Misrule does is a fiction. Okay? And it's exactly counter to what Jesus does, to what Yahuwah did. Okay? It's exactly upside down from it.
It is the upside down. But what a great description, Rick. Whether we said anything else tonight, what a great description, because we're empty vessels that he can fill and send out. whereas the Lord of Misrule takes an empty vassal and wants you to fill it up, bring it back to him.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was about to go. Because, see, he sends this vassal out to get gold, right?
Yeah.
He wants, man, last week I did a whole show, and Randy wasn't with me, and I was sad about that. But I did a whole show on Jasher 63 through 65. Did you get a chance to see that?
I haven't watched all, but yes, I have watched a great portion of that.
That wage scheme, the labor scheme, the whole scheme that it was put together by Pharaoh, where do you think Pharaoh got it? Really? Where do you think he got it? He got it from this guy. Okay? He got it from this guy. You know why? Because he ordained. See, and there's another word, right? Only God can ordain, but this guy, he ordains in a different way, all right? His ordaining is like a proclamation. It's like, you must do this. You will do this, you know? He ordained the people of Israel to begin to work for wages and slowly pulled it away until the Egyptians became taskmasters over the Israelites, and no longer were they paid. In fact, no longer were they satisfied. They were disgruntled from then till the time they left.
Oh yes, oh yeah.
Do we go through that with this guy? Absolutely. We go through it all the time because he sends us out to get gold, okay, and the gold comes back to him. Now, funny, if you really start to look at taxes, how close it is to this figure that we find in the Bible. We find this figure in the Bible about a tenth. Okay, that tenth was a gift that was given from Methuselah to Abraham. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because, see, that was a gift of abundance to Abraham. This isn't a gift of abundance. This is a subtraction. Okay? There's no multiplication factor there. So this guy is expecting 10% plus. And let's just say it's more on the plus these days than the 10%. Okay, because I don't know how you guys feel about $4, $5, $6, $7 gas, but it's on the plus side for me. Okay, so this guy, hopefully you've caught on by now that the straw man is this vassal. Okay, every society in the history of the world, when they create a contractual vassal like this, like your birth record, like your social security number, like your bank accounts, like your health insurance, like your car insurance, like your registration taxes, and all the things that Babylon does to you, okay? They create these things, and what they do is they make you a promise. Okay? They make you a promise. They say, you know what? If you give us all your gold, we're going to make you a promise. We're going to pay all your public and private debts.
Right.
Did you believe that one, Randy?
I'd like to.
We're going to pay all your public and private debt. All you got to do is just surrender your gold. The Gold Act of 1933, go read about it yourself. All you got to do is surrender your gold to Mr. Roosevelt. You know, the guy that they call one of the best presidents of all time. Puke. Okay? So.
Hello, the new raw deal.
Yeah. The new raw deal, exactly. So, promises broken. Right? So what does he do? He creates trustees. He ordains trustees. And what does he give what does he give the trustees charge over? He gives the trustees charge over all the wealth that he is confiscating from you. Okay? This Lord of Misrule, every time that you pay him a tax that you're not obligated to pay him except by contract, okay, he puts it in the coffers of these trustees over here. Now, what is these trustees responsible for doing? Well, House Joint Resolution 192, Public Law 73-10 says that they must pay all of your public and private debt. But here's the problem. You're not the focus. Your vassal is. Okay? They didn't promise to pay for your vassal. They didn't promise to do anything for your vassal. They promised to do it for you. But every contract that you have with Babylon is through your vassal. How do I know that? Because look at every contract that you've ever signed. When it comes back to you, how does it come back to you?
In all caps.
It comes back to you in all caps. Yeah, I know. There's somebody who's going to watch the show and they're going to say, oh, but Rick, government computers only do all caps. And you know what I'm going to say to them? Yeah, isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm. It's because the English language has precise rules of grammar that make no provision for writing proper nouns in all capital letters. So your name, spelled with all capital letters, is a fictitious name.
Right. And how can we evidence that? Well, let's evidence it this way. When you go and you register a business, how does that business show up, on all your paperwork? It always shows up in all capital letters. And actually, if you look up the rules of grammar, okay, according to the government, what is it called? The GOA or some organization like that. It's the government office. It's like the printing office, the GPO, I think it's called. The government printing office. And you look up their styles manual.
Right.
You download their styles manual. You're going to find out that it is correct to show a corporation in all capital letters. Why? Because it's a fiction. That's why. Because it's a fiction. So is it ever correct for Randy Conway to show up in all capital letters?
Only if Randy Conway is an artificial person.
Right.
A fiction.
Or operating in some kind of contract that created an artificial person.
Correct.
Okay, so hopefully people who are watching this and asking the question, what is a straw man, are starting to get it. It's not that there's two Randys. You understand? There's only one Randy. There's only one Rick. Okay? There's not two of us. It's just that they overlaid a fictional corporation over the top of us that the Lord of Misrule has deceived us into utilizing for the benefit of Babylon.
And that can also be, you said, talking about the government printing office and the styles manual. It's also proven if you go back to the actual law dictionaries, it's that way. Black's Law Dictionary, 7th edition, calls it an artificial person, an entity, such as a corporation created by law and given certain legal rights and duties of a human being, a being real or imaginary, who for the purpose of legal reasoning is treated more or less as a human being. It's also termed fictitious person, juristic person, legal person, moral person. That's Black's Law Dictionary, 7th edition. And then the 5th edition is called a legal fiction, assumption of fact made by court for basis for deciding a legal question, a situation contrived by the law in order to permit a court to dispose a matter. That's the 5th edition. Both of them are saying that vassal, that straw man, is a corporation, a fiction. It is created by law. It's an assumption of fact.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Pretty obvious.
You know, you can't even. There's no wiggle room there. Okay, it's super obvious. The other thing is, they broke a promise. They created these trustees who were supposed to, according to the statutes, and that's the first clue. That's the first clue. Because if it's in the statutes, it's never for you. Okay, it's never for you if it's in the statutes. Okay, so here we are. We're saying, hey, settle my debt. Settle my debt. You got a smiley face, you know, you're smiling. Oh yeah, you're gonna settle my debt because you promised, right? Why am I in jail? See this guy? He's got stripes. He's got stripes.
Has a prison uniform on. Okay.
He's got a prison. Yeah, that's not a barrel. He's not naked inside of a barrel. Those are prison stripes. Okay. So he's in jail now. Why is he in jail? He's in jail because, see, he thought he was following the law. But when you follow the laws of the Lord of Misrule, what happens, Randy? Are you in pain? I am. I cut meat for a living, and as a meat man, I have a really sore thumb on my cutting hand. I recently went to a conference where I was introduced to a pain patch that I fell in love with. QE Strong has a line of incredible products that relieve pain. The special patches emanate a frequency that is scientifically proven to bring fast pain relief. I know it works because I use it. To get some of these patches, go to www.c2kreport.com and click on the QE Strong box on the homepage. Click on the QE Strong box on our homepage. Then click the check availability button and order a few boxes of skin patches today. Order some for yourself and order some to give away to your neighbors. Thank you, QE Strong, for partnering with the C2K Report.
He comes back and bites you.
Yeah, you want to tell that story real quick about the Lord of Misrule, how that actually worked?
No, because I don't have it. I actually wrote about that in a poem about 2 years ago and did quite a piece on that. But the Lord of Misrule was a celebration, and it was done by lot. It was like rolling of the dice, and this person was actually made the Lord of Misrule or the King of Fools for a day, and there was no crime was ever punished. You could do anything you wanted to. People literally went and boarded up their houses and hid away like it was a certain 3-letter activist group from today that was mad because somebody didn't get elected that they wanted to. Literally, there was no punishment for any crime. They could do anything they wanted to do. They could steal from anyone they wanted to steal from. It was a day of chaos. It literally was a day of chaos. And the Lord of Misrule ruled over that day, and whatever he said went for that day.
Well, what happened at the end of the day, though, Randy, to the Lord of Misrule?
He was dethroned.
It means death. They killed him.
Oh, okay. They killed him. Okay.
Yeah, they killed him. Okay. This is the kind of games that the Lord of Misrule plays. He steps down for a day. He appoints you. You're happy. Hey, settle my debt, settle my debt, settle my debt, settle my debt, right? You go out and you do, you buy, you sell, you buy, you sell, right? And then you come along and you say, okay, I'm ready for you to settle my debt now. And what do? You try to follow through on that obligation by using Babylon's paper. I know what you guys are doing out there. using Babylon's paper to try to settle debts. Okay? I know it happens. There's people doing that. Okay? They're trying to, but you know where it ends up? You end up here. Why am I in jail?
Because those trustees over there you started out with aren't going to function as the trustee should be functioning. So you end up functioning as the trustee and the beneficiary, and that's a violation of trust law, and that's what gets you hung.
Yeah. Because, see, when you use Babylon's paper in order to request what you thought was a given, okay, public to settle private and public debt, okay, when you did that, what you were actually doing by using Babylon's paper, you were registering. You registered that 1099. You registered that instrument, whatever it was, whether you used an OID or a 1099A or all these different things that these patriots are talking about out there. Okay, well, no matter what you used a form that is construed to be a registration. You registered with these trustees, these fiduciaries over here. You registered with them, and you requested them to do something that you thought that they, that you were entitled to. But see, this guy, if nothing, is the king of all deception. You and the straw man, neither one of you were ever entitled to this promise. That promise is talked about all over the scripture. This promise here. Okay? But it has nothing to do with public and private debt. Did you know that? It has nothing to do with public and private debt. That was a lie that was put in there by this Lord of Misrule in order to get us to basically sin against the system. Okay? And the real reason for this promise over here was because, and I'm going off on something here. I'm not trying to do a Rick rant, but I'm just saying the real promise that was made was that the wealth of the wicked would be
laid up
for the righteous. That is the real reason. Now, let me ask you a question. This is a really pertinent question. I want you to really think about it and answer the question, okay? In your own mind, I want you to answer this. If Babylon has compelling interest over you, can you truly tell me that you qualify as righteous? I'm going to repeat that question because I want people to really think about it. If Babylon has compelling interest over you, are you really operating in a capacity of righteousness? Or do we need first to be saved?
That's just what I was going to say. And how do we remove that compelling interest? There's a word called redemption.
And what is the redemption of this system? Authentication.
Authentication. And after redemption, the man, not the vassal, the man is no longer a beneficiary and no longer surety. After redemption, the man is the controller and the creditor, and he holds the highest place of interest back to that vassal.
See,
or over that vassal.
See, there's another definition for strawman. You ever looked up strawman theory, Randy?
No.
Okay. You should look it up quick while I'm talking about this. There's another definition for strawman, and basically what they did is they contrived something within their form of law that was a carrot. Okay? It was a carrot. a carrot for you to come running after. All right? And here's the thing. Babylon knew that not 1 in a million people would understand it. Wait a minute. Who was that said that?
Edward Mandell House.
Yeah, Edward Mandell House. He said even if 1 in a million people figured it out, we'd have this thing called plausible deniability. Well, you know what plausible deniability really means? It's a lie. That's what it means. Plausible deniability means they lied. Okay? We've been chasing a golden carrot, not knowing that the real golden carrot is coming out of Babylon, being part of the kingdom of God, and having no compelling interest. That is when we will begin to see the promise that was made. Because the promise can't be made by a liar. Okay? The promise can't be made by the Lord of Misrule. You know what the Lord of Mistral does? He promises for a day you're going to be king, but he doesn't tell you he's going to kill you at the end. He doesn't tell you that. Okay? You know who the real promise keeper is? He's the real promise keeper. Okay? We're talking, he is the real promise keeper. This guy doesn't keep promises. In fact, if he makes a promise, the best way for you to understand that promise is to invert it and realize that he's just playing a game with you. He's teasing you. That was never meant for what you think it was meant for. Public and private debt, really? Let me ask you a question. I want you to create a monetary system where you promise to pay all public and private debt for everybody in the world. Create that monetary system and tell me how you're going to supply them. How are you going to supply the money? Where's the money going to come from?
You don't really need money. You just need a fiat currency and use the high office of the dummy corporation to foment the entire idea.
Do you actually think that it would ever work in any reality for everybody to pay off all of their public and private debt through some kind of a government scheme? You know what that's called? That's called socialism.
Yep.
That's the definition of socialism. And that's what you want? That's literally what we've been begging for? Pay my public and private debt because you promised. No. Guys, they promised socialism and we're running after it like it's a golden carrot. No. That's not a golden carrot. The golden carrot is the promises that God made. That's the real carrot, okay? That's the real thing. You go after this carrot, you're going to find out it's stuffed. Like those poor greyhounds, right? That chase that stuffed rabbit down the greyhound track. And by the time they get to the rabbit, they ain't getting it.
Right. Right. They run but never catch it.
Run and never catch. Okay? That is what you are to Babylon. You are a greyhound that they run and run and run. They make everything they can off of, and then they put you out to pasture. Okay? They give you a little stipend. They call it Social Security. They give you a little stipend, and they didn't give you the stipend. You worked for it. And you don't even get the whole stipend.
Nope.
So, I mean...
It is evil from its inception into its... from its inception to its application and clear to the end of your life. There's nothing about it that is not evil.
Stop believing Babylon. If they put it in their statutes, it is a golden carrot that leads to nothing. Okay? Stop believing Babylon. You want to believe in something? I have a book over here with, oh boy, I don't know how many pages are in it. There's a lot of pages in my book. It's called the Sefer. Okay?
Right.
And that puppy is filled from front to back with absolute reality. Okay? That's what you believe in. don't ever believe this scheme. Do you see how dumb this scheme is? So what is your straw man? Okay, let's summarize. What is your straw man? Your straw man is a vassal that works for the king. Okay, and when you authenticate, that vassal becomes free agent. Okay, and now that vassal can serve whatever king it wants to. And there's only two kings. There's the King of Kings and there's the King of Fools. Okay? Which one do you want to serve?
That vassal can only function in the public.
Right.
Until you're authenticated. And now you can, it's like you've said on another program, and moved it from vassal to vessel as a ship, calling it a ship, that we function and operate in commerce. But as the straw man, and since the straw man doesn't have a brain, he can't captain that ship. He doesn't have the ability to control the rudder. He cannot captain that ship.
Correct.
And it has to remain in the public, so that the public can control where that ship goes, what that ship can do, what that ship can haul, what that ship the requirements of that ship. But once you have authenticated or redeemed that straw man, and you have taken the place of agency over that vassal, that ship, once you have taken that place away from them and hold it now in your house, you can say where that ship will go, what that ship will haul, and what that ship will do. But you can't do that as long as it's in Babylon's waters.
True. Everything you said is totally true. But what I want people to get, Randy, is one more step beyond that.
Okay.
What I want people to get. Don't think that by using your ship in the public, your ship, okay, that somehow this is going to get your public and private debt paid. I mean, can I stress that more than I already have? I'm not sure. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Kleenex, okay, and I'm going to do this. Don't worry about the vassal. Who cares about that thing?
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to create something more important. We're going to create another one. But this is going to be, we're going to create a vessel. Your vessel is going to be your ministry. Okay? We're going to fill that ministry vessel with what's necessary. We're going to equip the saints for the work of the ministry. Equip means fill. Okay? We're going to fill that vessel, and we're going to release that vessel out into the world. And you know what? You're not going to be concerned about promises of public and private debt. You know why? Because you got a better promise. The wealth of the wicked stored up for the righteous. Do you know how big of a promise that is? Do you know that is way that? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to use the word. That trumps the vassal. Okay? Stop worrying about it. Now that you know what the straw man is, get out of Babylon. Let's create a vessel, and let's get to the promised land, because there is a promised land for us to reach. Okay? And there is a place where there is a storehouse that has been prepared for the saints. Okay? And we are going to go and find that storehouse. We are going to access that storehouse. But when we do, it's going to be for righteous reasons and for righteous purposes. It's not going to be for public and private debt. Debt is a contract, folks. Work the contract out, settle the contract, okay? And then let's get to work on the kingdom. This is a major distraction, is what I'm trying to say.
Hi, my name is Randy Shannon, and I have had a love and passion for natural remedies since my early 20s. I received my education through the Trinity School of Natural Medicine, and since then I have studied with every kind of doctor, from ER medical doctors to acupuncturists, naturopaths, veterinary medicine, holistic chefs, and professors. I believe as soon as we enter the world, our bodies are under threat, and that is why preventative care is so important to each of us. We have to be observant of our body's changes, and this is where fingernail, tongue, and body analysis is most helpful. This is a diagnosis or analysis that has evolved over thousands of years, resulting in a methodology so precise and natural that it's hailed as an art form. I seek clients that want a better understanding of their body's inner workings. I lay out a plan that helps you address your health issues. We talk about dietary recommendations, herbal and nutritional supplementations, and I outline this for you. We are looking specifically for physical markers that are on the body. We use the face, nails, eyes, abdomen, and more. Reach out to me to get scheduled today. 319-804-9163. 319-804-9163. Leave a message. I will call you back, and we will get started or answer any questions that you may have. Thanks for listening.
Right, right. And that distraction is nothing but debt.
Yeah.
That vassal is nothing but debt. There is no wealth there. The wealth that you're describing that was laid up, the wealth of the wicked laid up for the righteous, the wealth that you're describing, the wealth that we're looking for is true wealth. This other is debt, and it was debt. It goes back to, you already said it, back to 1933. You already said, and what happened? There was a meeting of the governors of all the states, and they pledged those people you thought that were representing you.
Yeah.
They pledged the assets and energy of the people of their states for what? To pay back the debt.
Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that amazing?
And now they perceive the debt to be how much?
Well, the debt is more than insurmountable. The debt just is. It always is.
Yeah.
That is not anything that ever goes away. It just is. And we're pledged that your energy and assets were pledged for that debt, so that you became. That's another way to look at the strawman. You're the security.
Right. You are. You're the security.
And it's a contract. It's just like that contract in Eden that you showed up at the beginning of the show. It goes back. You were contracted.
I mean, who do they put in jail, Randy? Do they put the vassal in jail?
Sure they do.
They put you in jail.
Oh, right. The agent of the
Because you're the surety. You're the surety.
You're the surety. Yeah.
Yeah. So come out of Babylon and stop worrying about this stuff here. This stuff is useless. That's what I'm trying to get at. This is useless. We're paying attention to garbage. Okay? Everybody is trying to gain access to their legacy accounts, treasury accounts, whatever you want to call them. Everybody's talking about them all the time. Okay, yes, they exist. Yes, they exist, okay? They exist. But it's pennies compared to what God's got stored up for the righteous. Okay? Why are we worried about that stuff when instead everything in Babylon is a fiction, including the national debt? Yeah. Including the national debt. It's a fiction. It's all fiction. We are literally in a trance watching some kind of a really awful C-rated movie. Okay? And I'm saying C-rated because I'm not sure there's such thing as a D-rated, or I would have said D. Okay? But it's a C-rated movie with actors from like, I think the actors are from the Christian streaming network. They're that bad. Okay, and it's It's a terrible, terrible movie. We're watching it in front of our faces, and we believe everything that they tell us, and we've got to stop believing it. Okay? We created the spell that we're watching play out when we registered. Okay? When we unregister, we walk away from that. We don't pay attention to it anymore. We put it away. Isn't that what the Bible tells us to do with these old foolish things? To put them away?
Right.
And what do? We keep going back to it, trying to fix it. Oh, we can fix it this time. All we got to do is put this one in, take this one out. It's going to work this time. It's never worked before, but this time, I promise it's going to work. Because 2022 is the magical year. You know,
I do believe that there's a day that when this system is diminished, all those accounts that you talked about have to be accounted for. Because right now they're under a system that do not have to be accounted for. And I understand, because I'm in the same boat as everybody else. Working daylight to dark just to hope you have enough to keep the roof over your head and food in your belly. And it's difficult and it's hard. And you're right, that does exist, and it is there. And there was a time that it was accessible. But how many laws have been written now?
Like 600 million or something? I don't remember.
It is such a twisted path. Yeah. If 1 in a million figure it out, they don't care. But yeah, it is 1 in a million. It's difficult. It's very difficult. And I understand the need for it. And I understand why that's going around, for sure.
I want to put this out there this way, okay? What we've always tried to do is put a better person into a position, thinking that if we just put a better person in there, it's gonna, then it'll start to be fixed, and then that person gets compromised, and the whole cycle continues. Okay, but just bear with me for a minute.
Okay.
When we bleed the Babylonian system out, when we come out of Babylon, and we gain access to that which God has promised. Now what happens is God appoints and God anoints those people to do a particular thing within the body, because God's system, this ecclesia apparatus, is not a hierarchy. Okay, it's a body. There's people who are conditioned to be arms, legs, feet, head, brain, all the parts of the body. There's people that are literally called to be those things. Right. We don't need a leader, because we already have one. His name is Jesus. Okay? Right. All power and authority went to him. Okay? We are his ambassadors. What does that mean? That means we represent his kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. Or are we? Are we? Are we representing it on earth as it is in heaven? I mean, we know there's some things going on in heaven, right? Because he tells us that he's gone away so he could prepare a place for us. So what does that mean, right? There's building happening there? Is there construction?
Different things. He's gone to prepare another place for another time.
Yeah.
But was it Revelation 11 says the kingdoms of this world, and this is present tense, the kingdoms of this world are become, not are going to become, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdom of our God and his Christ. That is a present tense fact.
You're saying the same thing that I'm saying. Because what I'm trying to get across is, if he's gone away to prepare a place for us, and it's to be on earth as it is in heaven, what ecclesia infrastructure are we building?
Pews.
Ouch, right? That's like a big stomp on the big toe moment right there, right? You're like, oh man, stop doing that, Rick. No, I'm not going to stop until we start doing it, okay? Because here's the deal, man. The very thing we've been trying to do in Babylon, God is going to do outside of Babylon. He is going to put people in places where He has called them to be. He has called each one of us to a particular ministry. And He is going to put us in those places, and He's going to fund those things with His treasury. Okay? And we're going to be able to begin to build the ecclesia infrastructure. The very thing that we've been trying to do in Babylon, replace bad guys with good guys, God's going to do that naturally. He equips the saints for the work of the ministry. What do you think electrical grid is a ministry? We just have a bad concept of what ministries are. We think ministries are like heal the sick, you know, preach
we're
to
more
the...
narrow than that. Ministry means some guy behind the pulpit.
Okay, see? I mean, that's pretty bad. Okay? Ministry is everything under the sun. Okay? That's literally what ministry is.
Right.
We can minister in any area, anywhere, any genre. Okay? So my point is, the very thing that we've been trying to do fruitlessly in Babylon, replace the good with the bad, or replace the bad with the good, you know, oh, this governor here, you know, there was a lockdown governor, the governor of Illinois, right? He was a lockdown governor. We got to get rid of him and put a good one in there. No, you don't. You need to come out of Babylon and let God begin to build His kingdom, because that's exactly what He's going to do. And He's going to use people like you, and He's going to use people like me, okay? You want me to just go out on a limb? I can go on a limb right now. I'm going to say, hey, Vince McMahon, are you watching this program? Mr. McMahon, are you watching this? One day, I'm going to take out your WWE with a righteous version, okay? Now, you know, maybe I'll look foolish one day, okay? But I'm telling you, we're going to replace it all. We're going to replace it all with righteous versions, and people, you know, and we will have a, you know, I say this a lot on our shows, and I don't know if people catch it or not, but the scripture says that it rains both on the righteous and the unrighteous. Okay, so we're all going to experience the weather, but for whose sake does it happen?
For the righteous.
It happens for the righteous sake. We're trying to operate in this Babylonian system by replacing this guy with that guy in the Babylonian system, hoping that then it's going to begin to rain from the move that we made within Babylon. And when it rains, it ends up being acid rain and it burns you out. Okay? I don't know where I come up with this stuff, Randy.
And I know you are too. I'm grateful for those people who feel called to that. But if you're not called and you're not anointed, you're right. The first thing that's going to happen to you, you're going to be compromised immediately, because all you've got is a better person in a bad place, and it is a bad place, and that person can't fix this system. But I understand the concept. If every person that was elected in was a righteous person, and we rescinded the charter that was created in 1871, and we rescinded and called, you know, that's the only way that would really work. I'm grateful for those people who feel called to that. But if you're not called specifically to that place, you're not going to do anything but hurt yourself and your family. Is the only thing because you're not going to change anything. But you know, it goes back to your Goshen story. It literally goes right back to your Goshen story, because when they were in Goshen, they had their own commerce in Goshen. They had everything they needed in Goshen. They had all the commerce they needed, all the farming they needed. They had all the agriculture they needed. They had, you know, they brought their herds with them. They brought their wealth with them. They built palaces in Goshen.
And it was the best.
It was the best. Their mistake was getting tethered to Egypt. They were fine until they went into a contractual agreement for wages with Egypt, and once they were contracted, they were contracted. It goes right back to the same thing.
Yep. Contract. This word right here. Contract. 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 Okay?
And even Babylon makes sure that contracts are honored.
Yeah, they do. They make sure contracts are honored. Let me tell you one of the most fun contracts that they honor. You ready?
So,
Marriage license.
oh yeah.
You go out and you say, well, the law in Babylon says I must get a license to get married to this beautiful woman. So you go out and you get a contract, you license it. You go and you get married before a representative of the state of whatever.
Right.
And they marry you in the name of the state of whatever.
Right.
And in the name of God, which is really weird.
Right.
That's really weird how they do that. Because I don't think you can serve two masters. I read that in a book somewhere. So here's what happens, right? All the produce of that transaction, which is what? Your children?
Yep.
Right? Your stuff?
All the property.
Your wages? Everything, right? Right? What do you think these little, what do you call those things when they start taking, they garnish the money out of the man's account and give it to the woman? What do they call those?
Oh, like alimony and child support?
Yeah, right. That is because of the license. Did you know that?
Because of the contract.
Yeah, you contracted for all the produce to be administrated by the state.
Even if you divorce, you may have separated as husband and wife, but both husband and wife are still, even though they're separate, they're separately now still contracted to Babylon. That never goes away.
Well, and here's another wicked thing, right? You ever heard of human trafficking? So, what do you think happens when the state decides that you're not very good parents?
They take the property that they have compelling interest in.
I mean, and this is a system that we want to keep representing. We want to send representatives into that system in order to somehow, make it a little bit better. Maybe don't take all my kids. Just leave one of them with me. And, let's compromise, Mr. Representative. Please, let's compromise.
And this king of misrule has so contracted so as to literally take some of what we thought were government services or government agencies, and they're private for-profit corporations. They're not government agencies at all, and yet they're functioning as an arm of the government with the authority and the backing of the government and the enforcement of the government, and they're not even government, but via contract they get to act that way.
Yeah,
and take those children, because Child Protective Services is a for-profit private corporation.
Oh yeah, they got a DUNS number.
Yeah.
And you know what the reason for a DUNS number is?
It is a listing of corporations in the United States, well, actually worldwide.
Yeah, but you know what you use a DUNS number for? To build business credit.
Oh, right.
Use it to build business credit. Now, if you're a real flesh and blood man, what reason do you have to build business credit? Now, if you have a corporation, I can see how you'd want to build business credit, right? If you have a corporation. But every literal agency in Babylon is listed on Dun & Bradstreet, every last one of them, and they're all building business credit. Okay, so ask yourself the question, how does a de jure, in law, government, okay, if it truly was one, what need do they have to build business credit?
They don't.
Aren't they accredited by we the people?
Yes.
Right. So they're not
Corporation.
so they're not a government. Stop thinking about it like that. They're not a government.
We don't even have branches of government any longer because the entire judicial system, the courts of this corporation are listed where? Dun and Bradstreet.
Yeah, department stores, basically.
Right.
Department of Justice. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So if you got enough money, you could buy whatever you want at Department of Justice.
And they write trillions of dollars worth of bonds every month, and they're a money-making outfit.
So what I'm hoping, Randy, that people got out of this conversation that we just had, I hope you learned what the Strawman was. It's a vassal. That's all it is. It's a vassal. But it's a vassal that you should stop caring about. Literally, just let it die. Let it die. Whatever. Let it die. I mean, what? Yeah, go ahead. If you're getting Social Security, yeah, keep collecting. That's yours anyway. That's a contract that you got into. Just keep collecting. Take it all. All right. But if you are serious about repairing this world and restoring it to what God created, what God intended, this isn't the concern, really. The concern is come out of Babylon. Let's create a vessel that'll take us to the place. Well, let's just say it like it is, the promised land.
Right.
Think about it. It's futile. It is futile. We have been trying to do it for how many thousand years? Literally try to change Babylon's system. The only way that God saw fit to change Babylon's system in Egypt was to put 10 plagues on him and get him out of there.
Right.
Okay? That's what we're going to have to go through again.
You said a term earlier, though, that makes me think. If it were de jure, you said, we do have a de facto situation right now. If it were de jure, and we did have for a very short period of time. It didn't last long. What did was it Benjamin Franklin answered the lady's question, well, what sort of government have you given us, sir? And he said,
right,
a republic if you can keep it, ma'am. We didn't keep it, but we did for a short period of time have a de jure government where we got to function in the private. There were no straw men, and everything was as we have been misled to believe that it's still that way, and it's not. If it were, we would not have the situations we have right now. We wouldn't have politicians who go into office and increase their wealth 10, 20, 30-fold, on a senator salary or a representative salary or that doesn't happen in a de jure government. But you are so correct. This was established under the de jure system that was established. It was a righteous government on righteous foundations, and it would have worked had we not been seeking the forbidden knowledge that got Adam and Eve kicked out of the garden. It's the same story over and over and over, because we had temporarily, not for very long, we had a wonderful, beautiful thing. And it can be again, but not, how I put this, Babylon cannot, you've said it before, it can't be fixed. It can't be fixed. It has to be replaced with the kingdom of God once again. There's only two kingdoms.
Only two kingdoms, and here's the fix.
Here's the fix, okay.
Here's the fix. God sent Jesus to make a way for his people to restore this world. Okay?
Oh,
You
no,
see?
because it's no longer just about me in this little place that I live, because the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof.
Yeah. He made a way for the gold to come to the people, the righteous, who are going to set up an earthly kingdom and build an ecclesia infrastructure for the benefit of all creation.
And eye has not seen, the ear hath not heard, nor hath it entered even into the heart of man. In other words, you haven't even imagined yet.
I haven't even imagined yet, and I'm the one who's talking like this. Okay? I'm sitting here telling you something that sounds like a dream to most people. And if I can imagine that, what's coming's even better.
Yes. And what is it we have not yet imagined? The things that God has prepared for those who love him.
Yeah. So guys, let's come out of Babylon. Let's stop worrying about public and private debt being settled, all those kind of things. You know what? At the end of the day, those things make a difference maybe in your life, but they don't restore creation. Creation needs restoring. We are in a situation where Babylon has destroyed everything, and they don't want to stop at this. Have you listened to Yuval Harari lately? You know? Have you listened to that clown Klaus Schwab lately? Have you listened to those guys? Have you listened to them talk about what they want this earth to be? Okay.
What I'll say, already the spirit of Antichrist is at work. There are many Antichrists already working. You just named some of them.
So why are we falling into their playbook by trying to fix Babylon? That's their playbook. Let's go and do it God's way. He instructed us. Come out of her, my people.
Yep.
So let's come out of her. Let's start to build a kingdom infrastructure. We can do this. Okay? The beginnings are despise not small beginnings. We are already in the days of those beginnings because there's already an effort being made to put some things together. And we'll be reporting that in the near future. But right now, please, I don't beg, but I'm pleading with you. Okay? If you're still seeking the restoration of public and private debt, you're thinking way too small, man. It's a golden carrot that is meant to send you to the pokey. You don't want to go to the pokey. The pokey is like HE double hockey sticks. Okay? That's what the pokey is. You don't want to go there. You want to go out of Babylon, and we want to start to build. So now that I've hammered that horse so many times that it's been dead 3 times, okay, I just want to thank everybody for listening to these reports. Obviously, you guys like this stuff when we have these kind of discussions, so I appreciate that. I like the fact that somebody out there actually wants to see something amazing happen. And I love getting to know all you people. I get a lot of emails from you. I really enjoy that. And I'll always try to answer as fast as I can. So remember, we got a class coming up June 25th. Please sign up. info@c2kreport.com. Like, subscribe, share. Randy, last word.
I got to say one last word. As we talk about this fiction that was created, this Strawman, this little corporation they created, an authentication, we're going to change who owns that. Don't think for a minute that that they don't have more than one tether attached to that straw man. And authentication is the beginning of your journey, but you can't break any of those tethers until you authenticate, and then we can begin to help you break all those tethers and recognize the solicitations, because they're still going to solicit that straw man. They're going to continue to solicit him, and help you recognize so they don't. It's like a team roping situation. Yeah, there maybe one guy throwing a rope at the head, but there's a healer out there that's throwing a rope at the heel too, but you've got to get authenticated, and that's where you start. And we'll learn as we go how to break all those tethers that have been thrown about us from the time that we were born and got registered into the system.
And please don't overthink authentication. Guys, don't overthink authentication. You are now registering to be a Taiwanese citizen. You are not, going to lose your citizenship in America. You're not, none of that stuff's going to happen. Literally millions of people have authenticated, and none of that stuff has ever happened to anybody. Okay?
It's a deregistration, unregistration, however you want to put it. Undoing what was done.
Yep. The real goal is to get an original of what was done. Okay? That is the real goal. Once you have that original, you can then record it where you want to. You can put it into your own custodianship, and now you control it. Okay? That's the whole game right there. It's not about Taiwan or any other country, not about the Hague or the non-Hague or any of that. We only use non-Hague because
of contracts.
Because you get the actual form that you need that actually references the original. Okay? You don't get that with apostille. You only get that with authentication.
Because of the contracts they made with countries that came together and
yes,
that commingled together under a particular contract.
There's only a few countries out there in the world, and you can find them on the C2K report under authentication tab. Only a few countries in the world that are left that are not part of that commingling.
Right.
Those and a lot of them are Islamic. Go figure. But that's how it works. So. Yep. God bless you guys. Thanks again. Randy, close this, brother.
All righty.
Please.
Father, we thank you for this time together once again, and we look forward with anticipation, but yet, a hope deferred makes the heart grow weak, your word says. So I just pray that you give to our listeners and to those who are trying to learn, and to Rick and his family and Jim and myself and those, that which we need, because you taught us in the very prayer that Rick quoted from earlier, that you would supply our daily needs, everything that we need, and we continue to honor and hallow your name. We continue to pray your kingdom come. We continue to pray your will be done, and not just in a place that is tomorrow, in a place that we cannot see, in an unseen realm, in that place we call heaven, but on earth, the very same as it is in heaven. And we just pray for the forgiveness of our sins, and if we understand that we're forgiven in the same manner that we forgive, we're shown mercy by the same measure that we show mercy. We're shown justice in the same mercy that we mete out justice. So let us have understanding about what we're talking about when we say these things, that it is a hope, but it's also a promise that our needs are met, and give us assurance in that those needs are met, and an assurance in our hearts and minds, and in our reality, in our houses, our homes, in our bank accounts, and in our grocery shelves, our pantries, that we have not been abandoned, that the righteous, that promise that the righteous are not forsaken, and their children do not beg for bread. May that be a reality to those who are listening to these reports, And may we not be foolish in looking for pie in the sky, but even as Solomon said, a wise man sees trouble coming from afar, and he makes preparation for it. May we be wise in what we do, in what you have given us, and say, well, God will take care of me tomorrow, and then put you to the test. May we be wise and prepare for tomorrow, and be ready for the days that lie before us, because again, we're in a battle. It's a clash of two kingdoms. It's not a negotiation of two kingdoms. It's not a party of two kingdoms. It is a clash of two kingdoms. And may we live with that mindset that we are in this battle. We are in the fray. And one day a battle is won, next day a battle is lost, but we know who the final victory is the Lord's. We know it is yours. It's already been won. We know that the work's already been done. Jesus said it on the cross. The work is finished. But we are weak in faith. We struggle in our daily lives. So we just pray, Father, that you strengthen our faith, because we don't have enough. So we just ask, as we always do, for understanding and wisdom. And tonight we ask for faith, that you increase our faith, and that we rejoice in the knowledge that Jesus Christ is the King of Kings. We are not under any mandate or under any regulation or any way are we required, any requirement to follow this king of misrule, this king of fools, this de facto Babylonian system. We are rather to expose the works of darkness and be a light shining on a hill. And I pray that that's what the C2K report is, and that your hand of protection remains over us, and your hand of blessing before us is not just something that we strive for, but something that we live in. We pray it in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Remember, Confucius say, "Come out her now." This is not Russian disinformation, and everything we do here at the C2K Report, it's all about the blood.
Hi friends, Pastor Mike Spaulding here to announce the Go Therefore 2022 conference. We are all witnesses to what has happened to America. Wickedness has overwhelmed our land. It is time for the body of Jesus Christ to come together and raise up the banner of our King. Now is the time for the ecclesia to make our voice heard. We must bind the strong man in order to reclaim our land. Joining us this year to bring this much-needed clarion call are the following speakers: Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, James Spence, founder of Operation Heal America, Dr. John Diamond, host of America Unhinged on Brighteon TV, Kenny C., host of The Rock with Kenny C., Derek and Sharon Gilbert, authors and hosts of award-winning programs on Skywatch TV and the PTL Network, Dr. Michael Lake, author of award-winning books, founder of Biblical Life College and Seminary, and host of Kingdom Intelligence Briefing, David Hevner, author, accomplished filmmaker, and producer-director of The Last Evangelist TV series, Carl Gallups, senior pastor of Hickory Hammock Baptist Church, and a top 60 Amazon best-selling author, Casper McLeod, pastor of Upper Room Fellowship, author, songwriter, guitarist, and portrait artist, Randy Conway, David Paxton, and Rick Hidalgo from the C2K Report. They'll provide a timely teaching on the steps you must take to protect yourself and your family from Babylon. Coach Dave Daubenmeyer from Pass the Salt Ministries, Neil Peterson, pastor of Harvest Revival Center and current candidate for governor of Ohio, Tom Dunn of Through the Black Ministries, and of course myself, Dr. Mike Spaulding. Registration is now open at the conference website, GoThereforeConference.com. GoThereforeConference.com. Registration is still only $59. A recommended hotel is the Best Western Dayton Northwest in Englewood. The hotel is a short 20 minutes from the Dayton International Airport and the conference venue. Mention Go Therefore Conference for the special rate of $89. Book your rooms now, as they will sell out. Go Therefore 2022 Conference, reclaiming the land, binding the strong man. I'll see you there.